Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I thought we'd have a quick look round basically before autumn sets in with a vengeance, although it started this morning. It's down to 5 degrees C in the garden, and tonight it's supposed to go down to 1 or 2 degrees and then coming back up again, and we forget about a mini cold snap. But yeah, I mean, it's probably short enough that it wouldn't affect trees to any great extent, but trees are showing signs of autumn anyway. I mean, I've cut my feed down to next to nothing. Anyway, what I really wanted to do was say what work is left outstanding for this year, because nothing happens in the winter as far as I'm concerned. The trees fend for themselves in the garden without shelter or support. They get rained on, they get frozen. It's always been like that, and I haven't lost one yet. Touch wood, quick. Anyway, the trees we've got my air layer trident maple that has put on some good growth, so it's taken. It must have roots in the pot. That may stay in the pot again for next year to make sure it's got a good root system. I might gently lift it out and see if it's got a good enough root system to get in a bonsai pot, but it'd probably be better to just leave it in that pot for another year, get it to put on some decent growth. So undecided with that yet, but I'm certainly not going to touch it this year. Coming round here, my Deshojo maple, which got frazzled quite badly. It's put on some new growth since then, so it's not dead, but it looks from a distance it actually looks great because it's all thinned out and you can see the structure, but that's not what it's supposed to look like. And it didn't get frazzled because it was in the sun. That's not a problem. It got frazzled because I didn't water it enough. If you've got a good root system, then your pot's not too small and you keep it hydrated, they'll take the sun. Some cultivars probably won't, but this one does, Deshojo. So that must be repotted without fail, absolutely without fail next year. It's going in a smaller pot that's deeper. The idea being I can get it a bit farther down into the pot. So that's that one. Again, that's a late winter, early spring job as soon as the buds start to move. Yeah, I don't think it needs repositioning to any extent, it just needs the pot changing. Coming round here, my only azalea, Satsuki. Nothing to do on that, that was potted up. Was it done during this year? Can't remember, or last year, but certainly doesn't need a repot. It's had a trim, had the flowers taken off. We should be getting buds. We should get some good flowering next year. We had more than I thought this year, but this maple has had a trim this year. This needs absolutely nothing done to it till the spring, when it will get a tidy up and long extensions like this will be taken off. There's no point in doing them now, just as well wait till the spring now. And it needs the apex thinning a bit. It's a bit dense on the top there. You can see the structure, I'm happy with that. Ramifications getting better each year, but could just do with that apex thinning out a bit. This maple is a lollipop. With the size of the trunk, it probably would be better if it was taller. In other words, layer 1, front side, layer 2, branch 2, and then some branches, and it stops. And I think if these branches were extended and it had another layer on top, it might look better. Oh, spider doing a dance. That's their protection device against predators. There's quite a lot of those in the garden at the moment. The 3 trident maples left in the pot after their trunk chops and the air layer was taken off. I won't do anything to that till the spring, but in the spring they are coming out of that pot and getting dealt with probably as individual trees. We'll see. Right, coming round here then, into the sunshine, which is good because it's flipping cold out here today. Ugh. That's better, I can feel the heat on my shoulders now. We were in the shadows just now. Right, so coming round here, we've got, now I'm casting a shadow, we've got my Japanese white pine, which has got some needle loss. It's that time of year, and this didn't get much done to it this year, and I think I'm not going to do much again. I'm undecided what to do with this, quite honestly. I want to make it into a nice tree, but it's, for the size of the trunk, the branches are too short. So I think I might just let it grow again for another year. But certainly not going to do anything to it this year. My golden larch, little mini forest. Actually, let me go around the other side. Too close. That's better, now I can get down. It's a little mini forest, and that's not part of it, that's called a weed. Yeah, golden larch, false larch, another weed, and lots of moss. It's a little forest, it's never going to be anything spectacular, but it's put on some good growth this year. Next year I'll give it a bit of a trim and try and get some individual shape into the trees, but that's gonna have a lovely autumn display coming soon. This little what I always forget the name of, that just needs a tidy up. I mean, it's had some basic structure put into it. It's got some structure, and it's a little mini tree. It's what I call a bit of fun rather than a proper bonsai. And then this Scots pine we had a go at. I'm hoping that all the growth on those branches finished, and there won't be any growth now until the spring, which means the wire shouldn't bite in. It's not too bad if it does on a Scots pine. It's going to end up with a gnarly branch anyway. But this is the initial branch structure and selection. Again, I'm not sure this is ever going to be a brilliant tree, but it will look an awful lot better if the branches thicken up a bit, especially little ones like this. But I've had a go at it, you know. We'll see how it develops. And having said, I hope the wire doesn't cut in. I think it already is. So it must have carried on growing. We shall see. And then round here, this is my Japanese larch, and we've done a bit of branch selection on there, but not much, and it will need shaping next year. It needs the branches sorted out. They all stick upwards, and obviously some of them need to come down, so we'll need to do a bit of work on this. This is starting to drop its needles. This little juniper here, complete with the different type of foliage called weeds. I haven't been very good at weeding this year, I must admit, or moss reduction. Yes, so that has had some sort of initial design done, but not a lot. It's still got some wire on it just to hold it, and next year it needs the branches actually turned into pads. So we shall see what we can do with that next year. The copper beech just needs to thicken up basically. I don't plan on doing too much to that. I'll probably take the end buds out of each branch to force it to grow sideways to get some better ramification, but it's just a young tree. My other beech, this one's coming on quite nicely now. I did get some bad wiring scars on it, which is a shame. They don't disappear on the deciduous ones, but I'm reasonably happy with the branch structure itself. But it's quite a vigorous tree, and these are difficult to get the leaf size to reduce. But you can see, I mean, it's put on that much growth this year on that particular branch up here. It's put on quite a bit of growth, but again, they're not that easy to get good ramification, and with the larger leaves, But we shall see. I shall keep working on it. And then, I was going to say last but not least, but there is another one. We're going to have a look at this one. This is my, that's a herb, that's not a bonsai. This is not really a bonsai anymore. It is and it isn't. It's the Fuji cherry and Kojo no Mei. And it was a garden tree. Then I tried turning it into a bonsai, and then I changed my mind and decided that it will be a half and half. So it's in a bonsai pot. It looks a bit like a bonsai, but I'm not going to do a lot of training on it. It's going to get the principle really of pinch and grow, because I want the flowers. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Where I get long extensions like that, they'll get taken back, and I'll just keep its basic shape. You know, I mean, it does its own thing with the bends and twists. I haven't done that. That's tree's done that, and it keeps doing it. So it's just a matter of keeping it tidy. And last but not least, this isn't a bonsai yet. This is a juniper in a tree, in a pot. But inside this bush is a lovely tree, which is very difficult to see. There it is. So this is a bonsai waiting to happen, because you can't see it at the moment. It's got a nice trunk. It's got some very good movement. It hasn't really had the branch selection done yet. These are where I tried to air layer and failed miserably, so I just left them. They will probably become gins. It's put on a lot of growth this year. So that will have something done to it next year, but it's mainly going to be branch selection before, you know, these branches are getting very thick now and quite long for the size of the trunk. They're too long, so they're going to have to come back in. But lots of growth, plenty to work with. And then last but not least, my Scots pine with the big shari. This is dropping a lot of needles, which is a little bit of a worry. I don't remember it dropping this many before, but it's got no wire on it now at the moment. It was left to grow a bit this year. Yeah, it's a trifle worrying. It's an awful lot of needles dropping, but you know, including right up to the end there. So that little branch has died. Yeah, I think these needles need clearing out. You have to get rid of them, I think. And then we'll see what's left. But it was left to grow this year, and it didn't. It didn't grow much. I think the problem's going to be in here, because when I water it, the water just sits on the top. I think this is compacted, so this will have to have a repot. Get some fresh media in there with perhaps a lot of additional grit so that it drains better. But we've got buds on the ends of the shoots, so you know, extensions like this has either got to be put back down underneath something or trimmed back to get some back budding. Difficult to say which at the moment, but I think I need to have a clear out of all these dead needles, but certainly won't be doing much to it. So that's it. Those are the trees. That's all I've got. Oh no, I forgot my hornbeam over here. This didn't grow much this year. I think it was getting too much sun, quite honestly. Not sure. And again, the water sits on the top when I water this. I think this could do with a repot as well. But I'll go through my notes and sort out, you know, what doesn't seem to be draining very well. And perhaps we'll put some effort in and do a repot. But this one hasn't grown much at all this year. And for this to ever be a nice tree, it needs something to grow vertical, or something to be pulled into the vertical. It needs some height. It needs a little bit more height to go with its width and its scale. So that's still to happen. Whoops. So I'm desperately trying to stay on the paving because there's lots of ground cover been planted. I mean, this is all forget-me-nots and various other things in here, thyme and stuff, so I try not to walk on it if I can help it. So there we go, that's my trees, and there's never going to be a huge workload with the few trees that I've got, but you know, the bonsai hobby is a secondary hobby for me, possibly third, because my orchids in here are my main hobby, yeah, and probably my second hobby really is the garden itself, and then the third hobby is the bonsai. So it obviously doesn't get my main attention, and I just hope to just keep the trees alive, keep them ticking over, and do a bit of work on them now and again, and that's the extent of my bonsai hobby basically. Now the sun's gone in and it's not warm out here. I'm out here in a shirt. Could have done with a jumper or something. Never mind. Anyway, just a quick look round at what's going on with the trees and what the outline plans are, and we'll see where we go from there. But there's never going to be lots of bonsai videos from me because I haven't got the trees. I haven't got the volume of trees to be able to do lots of work, you know. I mean, it's just a minor hobby for me. So but I do what I can. See you next time.